Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, your lovely host, Rin, from the Rin's Art Cafe, and today with me I have Tim. It's on the other side. Tim, and the screen is mirrored. And today we'll be talking about Ludosport. So before we begin, I would like to say don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to comment down below. But when you comment, please keep it civil. Thank you very much. And without further ado, here we have Tim. So tell us a bit about yourself. Where did you grow up?
Well, hi. Thanks for letting me join this podcast. Tim, indeed. I grew up in the Netherlands, in Vinkenveen, at the Vinkenveensplassen. So I spent most of my time on the water and in the green fields of the grasslands and meadows that were situated there. So yeah, I grew up in the middle of the Netherlands, between Utrecht and Amsterdam. Yeah, on a farm. My parents weren't farmers, but I grew up on a farm nevertheless. So a big garden, a lot of meadows all around us with cows and horses and whatnot. That's where I grew up.
Yeah, because the Netherlands is known for a bit more of a agricultural country, especially like when it first started out, especially with the dams and keeping the fields safe so the cows can graze and the crops can grow.
Yeah. I believe I was living 7 meters below sea level or something like that. So if it was for the Dutch building all of their dams, I wouldn't have any home to grow up in. Yes.
Yeah. So some people say the Netherlands is sinking because the sea level is rising. So it will still have to be built even further up, in a way.
Yeah. True. Yeah, true. Nice.
So, tell us more about yourself. Are you you're an instructor, but you also told me you were a teacher. Where do you teach at?
Yes, I am an instructor in Ludosport, but it's only part of my job. I'm also a teacher for the secondary education in physics and chemistry, because why settle for one if you can do both, right? So I teach children between 12 and 16 or 18, depending on their educational path, in how to do physics and chemistry. I also am a swimming instructor. I teach children and adults and others how to improve or learn how to swim and stay afloat and be safe, a part of the rescue organization as well, although not an active member, but hey, if you teach someone how to swim, they are safer in swimming as well. And as you know, the Netherlands is a very water-heavy country, where
Yes.
we do have a lot of areas where you can drown. So it's part of prevention to teach the children here in the Netherlands how to swim, and I'm part of that community. Yeah.
Yes, and especially like if you learn how to swim and such at a young age, it'll be a lot more helpful. Especially, do you also teach the thing where like the babies go into the water and they like turn around to keep their face up?
No, and unfortunately, I do not. I really want to, but with the federation where I teach swimming, they don't do that at the moment. We did do some grown-ups and immigrants, and we are now only focusing on the children. We're short on staff. That's just it. We're all volunteers there, so yes, I would really like to. I did do some classes in Amsterdam with babies and toddlers. That was just amazing. So I really want to do that again, but we need more manpower to make that happen. So no, but I would like to, yes.
Yes, because I myself, when I was younger, have been taught how to swim by people who came from the Netherlands to Suriname to teach.
And that's how it works. Yes, the Netherlands has a very big export in waterworks, including apparently how to teach swimming and how to swim properly. Yes.
You also mentioned something about a star observatory. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yes, after my secondary education, I went to a university at Amsterdam. I started physics and astrophysics at the place, and the first astrophysics class just get me completely. My heart was really blown away by all the magic stuff that happens outside of the Earth, outside of the Earth sphere. And then one of the teachers, one of the professors, stopped teaching. People get old. That's what they do. And then there was no one to teach anything about stargazing at the VU. It was at the UvA because Amsterdam has two universities, because why not? So they gave me the key of the observatory, and I did the talks and lectures and tours in the Stardome. I also did some lectures on stargazing for the students and how to work with the telescope. I collaborated with the other teachers from the other university. They had the bigger telescope. I collaborated with them if they had some of the students that also needed to do a practical application with a telescope, but there wasn't any room at their observatory. Then they got to my observatory and I helped them along and guided them how to do their research and observations. Well, it is in Amsterdam, so there's a lot of light pollution. The center of Amsterdam is the most light polluted area in the Netherlands, and the second most light polluted area in Amsterdam is the Zuidas, which is where the University of Amsterdam is located. So it wasn't great for observations, but it was great for teaching how to work with the telescope, not for the best observations. So but the building has been scheduled to be brought down like 30 years ago. It still hasn't been brought down, but I had to clean up the entire observatory because they're finally starting to demolish some parts of the building. So nope, I'm not anymore doing any stargazing, unfortunately.
Are they going to move it to a different place? So they're just not going to have an observatory?
Yeah, everything has already been moved to the other university. There was just this dome and me and my enthusiasm left, and maybe some other students and teachers that sometimes went to this observatory. But the main part of all the observations about stargazing is at the other university. So when the VU stops doing any observations, no harm done. There's still another observatory with a lot of people working on some awesome science stuff. So
because I would like to. Because I would like to go to like an observatory someday and actually like do stargazing.
Well, that's still possible. There are some observatories in the Netherlands which you can visit. They have spotting hours or the free hours or opening hours where you can have either lectures or workshops or just go there and visit them. Usually at night, obviously.
Yes.
So in Amsterdam, the other university does do, I believe it's a monthly thing or maybe it's a bi-weekly thing. That you can visit the Stardome there and look through their telescopes and in their domes. Yeah, that's still a thing.
Have you been able to see meteor showers or comets through? I'm not sure, like if they're.
I have not. A comet would be possible because a comet is rather slow moving, but a meteor, especially when it's going through the atmosphere, that's a really fast object. And I cannot swivel my telescope that fast. It's a big thing, so that takes some time.
You
so
usually just see a flash of light.
Yeah. It will be just a line, and you probably missed it because you're only looking at a tiny part of the night sky at a time. You cannot see like a very wide field of view. You see a very narrow field of view. So if you take a picture, which usually lasts between a minute and maybe an hour of observations, at least with the smaller telescopes, when you get to the bigger telescopes, it can take up to 60 hours of just exposure time. So you take a snapshot, but you leave the camera taking the snapshot because the stars are so dark. That sometimes you can get lines through your images from planes that flew over just right in front of where you were making your observations, and then you can throw away that entire photograph because now you have a line
Oh no.
somewhere. So that would be the same thing with a meteor. There would be a line in your image which you then have to remove because that's not the thing you were looking for. So hopefully it missed whatever you were looking for, and there is no other noise generated from that. So no, you would hope not to see a meteor.
Because if I'm correct, there's like lots of dust and particles into space. Like if it was a lot clearer, you would be able to see like the other stars, perhaps even galaxies, just like, but it's really, really small. Or like just the
Well,
light coming from it.
you
Like
are,
yeah.
it is possible to look at other galaxies and look at other stars. Yes, from Amsterdam, yes, with some effort, that is also possible, but it takes some effort. But if you want to get like real specular images, so you can actually see how big a star is, you need way bigger and better telescopes, preferably outside of Earth's atmosphere, because of all the aberrations and vibrations that the atmosphere brings with you. Now you can smooth a lot, but not everything. It's just better to get a satellite. There's no weather, at least not the Earth-like weather. There's still weather in space, but not the Earth-like weather. So yeah, I did capture some extra galactic light. So not light from our galaxy, but light from another galaxy. And you could see some Doppler shifts and that, and I did some calculations, but it was very faint. It was a very, noisy picture. My signal to noise ratio was like 2. So the fact that I could see something was, well, not really scientific accurately saying, but it must have been the object. So yes, it is possible.
Speaking of a galaxy far, far away, what
Yes.
would you say? Would you say that this as well inspired you to go into Ludosport?
Yes, although I think it's the other way around.
Or it's the other way around?
When I get to university, I was already 18 years of age. So before that, I've seen the Star Wars movies and Star Trek and other sci-fi things. And I was always into mathematics and trying to explain the world. So physics was a natural choice. And astrophysics, that was just lovely because you could fill in everything from physics into one subject. Normally, you specialize. But with astrophysics, you need to use every specialization a bit to get the entire picture. So that attracted me like immediately. I want to know a bit from everything instead of just everything about one thing. That's why I did chemistry and physics as a teacher now, because I want to do more. But yeah, I saw Star Wars first and Star Trek and all the other sci-fi things first, and then I discovered astronomy. But yes, it's a good coincidence that I have seen light from a galaxy not that far away. But yes, it was a long time ago, and that coincidentally matches up with a Star Wars franchise. Yes.
So, when did you actually find out about it? Because usually see especially in Star Wars, you see this technology and people are trying to create the real life, the real world equivalent to that, but you can't really create a something like that. But
no, true. When did I find out? Well, the first time I remember that really, it's a good memory of when I started to have an interest into those weapons of Star Wars. Was on a small holiday to Limburg, the south of the Netherlands. My dad brought me there for, I don't know, holiday reasons. I was really small, and there was a shop there, and above the counter there was this glass lightsaber turned on, permanently powered, like in a glass display with a very high price. I don't even remember the price, but a very high price, and I was just mesmerized that I've seen this from the movie and it is real. I could buy this. And then my dad explained, yes, it's made from glass, so you can't actually battle with it. It would shatter, it would break. Also, it's way too expensive to even buy. I had to use
more of an antique.
it was not an antique. It was just fragile. was just very
Fragile.
fragile. So I was forced to use sticks in the back garden, and a lot of fantasy to recreate that. But it always kept my interest. So every few years, I did like, okay, but I want to know more about this fighting, and how do you do the fighting? I did do judo. That's a combat sport without weapons, or at least I trained it without weapons. Maybe there are weapons, not sure. And it's the only combat sport I did where you really have to face a partner. But I did like all the kung fu movies, wushu movies, samurai, or whatever. I did like that. The knights of old age, of the early medieval time, before the cannons. That was my favorite period in, like, okay, but they had to use techniques, and then they developed different kinds of armor and different kinds of weapons, so that it still caught my interest. So every few years I did try and Google search for, like, okay, can we do sword fighting? Can we do stage plays? Can we do HEMA and all other kinds of martial arts related stuff? And then 3 years ago, I got a hit. I got a hit, like, okay, in Singapore, they're doing this saber fighting where they have sabers and they are sturdy enough that you can actually battle them, and they have a progression system and all kinds of techniques. And I was like, yeah, I want that, but I'm in the Netherlands, not in Singapore. So I ordered 2 of the sabers. We broke them at the first try, obviously, because that's how it works. You have to see the limit of a new tool. So we broke them at the first night. That was fun, and then it was okay. But this is really true. So where can I get this stuff? Now there was something happening in America. Again, America. I'm not in America. And then I found out there is also something here in Europe, and that has its origin in Italy, and it's called Ludosport. And I was like, okay, but that's like close by. I can get into that. So I found out the nearest hall, which was in Brussels. I contacted them. I went to a small gathering that they did here in the Netherlands in a museum because of some movie magic. So I met them. I got the sabers from Ludosport. They have their certified sabers. You can only use sabers which are specified according to some specifications. Safety is the main concern. So I got 2 of those sabers. Obviously 2. I want someone to spar with.
But was it the same one like the one from Singapore, or was it a bit different?
No. I'll have both of them. I'll have both of them. The one from Singapore, they're like just one solid thing, and well, there's a tube obviously, and there's some light in here, and then you light it up. This one cannot turn on. As I told you, we've broken them, so I cannot turn this one on. And it had some basic settings like different colors and different sounds. It registered when you moved. It registered when you hit. It did something with the sound and color. Awesome. And then the one I got from Ludosport, well, as you can see, it's already a tad bigger, a bit more heavy. The polycarbonate is bigger, more sturdy. It's thicker. It's hollow on the inside, but it's at least 2 millimeters thick, while the other one, well, is less. So I got 2 of those so I could spar with a friend of mine. I visited Brussels 2 times, and they visited the Netherlands once. They taught me some basic ideas, and then I was like, okay, but I want more. I want to actually compete with people and talk about it and spar, and not visit Brussels every. That's going to be expensive. It's going to be time consuming. So I contacted Ludosport themselves just in Italy, and I was like, okay, I want to do this. Well, what do I need to do to do this? Well, okay, there's no one in the Netherlands doing this. Okay, there may be 2 people that are interested in doing something alike. But yeah, what the first thing you need to do is become the first instructor. And if you are the first instructor, well, you can start the first hole. And if you have started the first hole, you can start training the first students. And with those students, then you can spar. So, well, the path was clear. I needed to become an instructor. And that was all 3 years ago. Well, due to financial things, I couldn't attend their instructor class then. Then something happened, I don't know, pandemic. And now finally, in the previous summer, I went to Italy. I did the course of the first form of Ludosport. I'm qualified as an instructor. They passed me. I've opened up my halls. I have 2 halls, one where I live, Purmerend, and one in Amsterdam, obviously Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm training students, and they're loving it, and I'm fighting with lightsabers. It's just the best thing.
What was your reaction when you found out there are other people also interested in this? But like, did you check to see that first before you started the school, or did you talk to, let's say, where you have the schools? Let's say, hey, we're doing this thing, this new Ludo sport that's not done in the Netherlands before. How do we advertise that?
Yeah, so did I contact people before I started? Well, I had contacts in Brussels. I had contacts with Ludosport itself. I've made contacts with the Fencing Federation and some fencing clubs here in the Netherlands, in both Purmerend, Amsterdam, and the Ede, a lot of places. Because there were more people interested in doing things with lightsabers. And that's just, okay, awesome, which means I've got more people to have fun with. So yeah, that was exciting, and I wasn't surprised or anything, because yeah, obviously there are more people that like the movies, so there should be more people that actually like to do a sport with those iconic lightsabers. So yeah, that was just awesome, and I contacted the Fencing Federation and Ludosport itself, and then I just went for it. Like, okay, yeah, I need to do advertising. No clue how to do that. Let's see how you do that. So I just Googled it. And that works. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. That's enough. I'm just doing this alone. In Amsterdam, I was looking for a sport hall, and I found several. Not all of them were what I really wanted to do, but one fit every criteria I had for starting up my own hall. And we talked about, okay, this is a new sport, so it's not already recognized by the Dutch federations, although I'm working on that, obviously. And we come to an agreement on how to do it. And here in Purmerend, it was like, yeah, do you have? We have one organization in Purmerend that does most of the sporting. So I just contacted them. Hey, I want to do a new sport. I need a hall. Do we have something? Yeah, we have several. What time? What date? And it's so many hours and so many money per hour, so many euros per hour. And that was all settled here in Purmerend. That was like easy. You just contact someone, and as long as you rent and pay the rent, it's okay. Amsterdam, it's a bit harder because it's more of a private sector. So I did do some Googling and some emails to ask if people had any halls or gyms where I could give the classes. And yeah, one popped out in Amsterdam. You know where you have visited.
I have visited. I was surprised when I saw it. Like, I was just going for the other stuff like bouldering and taekwondo and boxing, and I just saw like on the screen like new sport, Ludosport, come and try it out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to try it someday. I have to. I'm not like letting my membership expire without doing it.
No, and you did, and you succeeded, and yeah, that was awesome, I guess.
Yes, because I was actually a lot interested in doing it because 5 years ago at a comic convention, they were teaching like how to fight with lightsabers, like in Star Wars. And but they were just using sticks. They weren't really like using the light swords you have. And there were a lot of people interested in it. So I'm wondering what happened to all those people, because now it's like a lot. It's in the same city, and people can just go. But maybe because of the C word that is making everyone not feel so well, it is probably keeping them from
Yeah, I
continuing
don't
this.
know. Yeah, I don't know. I know there's another guy, an awesome guy in Utrecht who is doing something with sabers as well. He didn't join Ludosport, but he did create his own combat according to the movies. So yeah, I don't know. Obviously, stage combat is something different from actual combat. And if you work with the props from the movies, those were sticks as well, except for the last movies. Then they did use like lightsabers that are like the ones that Ludosport is using, because we now have the technology that the blades can be that strong and that firm and that safe that you can actually use them and really hit each other. You can really slam these sabers hard and not break something. I know that from experience, because well, the first time I tried things without any knowledge, I broke my fingers.
Oh
Yeah, I know. I wasn't wearing protection. I didn't know what to do. We were just having
no,
fun,
no, no. That
and
does not sound well.
it does sound well, but it does tell you that these blades are really made for combat. They are not just for playing and being safe, like the glass one I saw in when I was a child. They're really made for battling. So the first thing I did after that night was buy gloves so I could be a bit more safe, and
Yes.
well, intend to go to the instructor's course so I can be a bit more safe. On the picture you see here, this was one of the nights in Italy. This was one of the first pictures I used to promote myself. Well, yeah, you see me there with a nice mouth nest, which also has, by the way, the logo on it. That's always nice. It has the logo, the yellow logo as well.
Oh,
The
that
same
looks
one you can
nice.
see on my back. So here I'm sparring with someone else, and a third member is taking pictures, and I just use those pictures. So yeah, I don't know where all
So
those other people are where you talked about, but please come and visit my classes. We'll see what we can do.
it's because like you guys' dream sort of came true. You guys can like now actually go to like do some classes and spar together now. The option is there.
Yep.
So tell me a bit about how Ludosport came to be.
Right. Okay. Ludosport itself.
Yeah.
That's the story of light. You can search it on YouTube if you want to, or any other streaming service. The story of light, especially part 1 and part 2. Part 3 is more about the rise in San Francisco, but I'll summarize. In 2006, two friends in Italy, in Milan, got together. They were old friends. They were doing all kinds of combat-related sports with weapons, without weapons, whatever. And they, I don't know how, but they got their hands on a tool, a new thing, a new polycarbonate, which was tougher than it has been. It was newly developed, and well, another design. It wasn't this design, but another design that could withstand like very hard hits. So they watched together during a dinner, and they were like, okay, but this is a tool, a new tool with some new properties, because if this turns on, it can cut through anything besides itself, all those mystical properties that you can give it. But why don't we create some techniques with this tool, like literally a tool? Like, okay, we have the human body. Human body has some constraints. I cannot do crazy backflips and whatever, but I can make the properties of this weapon well, a reality if I think about it. If you take a normal sword, the standard sword that you know from medieval times, you have a flat part. You have a cutting edge, and you have an edge where you, well, don't cut with. You can hit with it maybe, but it's usually used for block. So you have a specific direction which you need to use for cutting and for blocking. You can use different directions. Now with this weapon, you don't care about that, because this is 360 cutting anyway. It doesn't matter how you use it. You can defend in any way. It doesn't matter if you hold your hand like this or this or this, or whatever kind of twist you need to do. It doesn't matter. So there are certain techniques that can be adapted or completely reinvented or just dismissed completely with this new weapon, which means this is a sport created in a opposite way from all the other combat sport. Well, maybe not all other combat sport, but in general, the combat sport. Because combat sport used to be, how do I kill that other person in the most effective and quickest way?
Yes.
It was meant for battle. And then at some point, some people got civilized and we don't do battle anymore. So, but we still have those techniques. What do we do with it? Okay, we create a sport. We have some regulations. We make it an Olympic sport. So we have more regulations, more rules, more safety things. But we still have all those techniques to kill someone most effective in a sporting way. Well, this weapon and the sport associated with it has been created, well, almost in reverse. Like we have a tool that has properties and we can make movements with it and techniques with it to create a sport. Oh, and also you can spar with it, obviously. But there were some caveats. There were some check marks that the founding fathers wanted to incorporate. And that was, we don't want armor. We want a bit more freedom. Now, of gloves, obviously, and for the males, you need some other protection down there. And goggles.
Goggles, especially.
That would be nice. Now, goggles aren't officially in the rules that you need them, but I want them. I just want goggles. I feel more safe by that. So with the lack of protection, that means that you cannot just slam through someone because we're not wearing armor. We are just having skin, and I'm now wearing this black thing that usually comes off. Yes. That means I just have some bare skin there. So when you hit me and you hit me hard, well, that's going to hurt. That means that I need to change some of the techniques so I can have some safer approaches. For example, this can be bended a bit, but not that much. It's not like a foil where you can collapse it onto itself with fencing. It's not like a spring steel from a historical weapon where you can really fling it along. It will fling a bit, but not much. So stabbing is not allowed. Because if this stabs a person, it won't give. And it will go, well, maybe not directly through you, but it will leave some horrible wounds, especially in the belly area. This is just a stick thrusted in, and that's deadly. So we don't thrust. Rule 1, we don't thrust. No techniques will use thrusting at all. So that means that we have techniques coming from the side, coming from below, coming out, everything from the side. Or we have a sliding cut forwards, an advanced cut, but no thrusts at all to make it safer. That also means that if you compare it with the classical fencing, there's a lot of stabbing in classical fencing, and it's not in this. So it's a different sport. Yes, it uses a weapon, different sport entirely. And with all the other martial arts that you can think of with weapons, there are obviously similarities and there are big differences. So this is a sport created as a sport in such a way that it can be very safe. There hasn't been any horrible accidents yet, although it is a new sport, so place that in perspective, please. But still, no major injuries at all. Some bruises, obviously. My broken hand doesn't count. I wasn't doing Ludosport at the moment. But and then you can do combat. And you can do that in a, safe way. Well, obviously the other sports are safe as well, but they have armor or they have other caveats to make it safer. And so that's how it was invented. And to make the story complete, because we started with Stargazing and Star Wars, obviously Star Wars is the big inspiration, and there's no denying that we did. But what we did is we took one element from the Star Wars universe, the lightsaber, get it into our universe, and created our universe rules and our body rules around it. So no crazy backflips like you see in the movies, no the other weird things where you need wire work or whatever. No, that's not all true. This is something that humans can do and humans can learn and humans can train to work with. So we are not doing Star Wars fighting. We are inspired by Star Wars. And we won't deny that. There's there's no argue, but we have our own lore. We have our own weapon that works almost like in the movies, but it's slightly different because we have to adapt it to our rules. I cannot track this blade. If I turn it on, it's there, and if I turn it off, the blade is still there. It's not armed, it's not dangerous, but it's still there. So I cannot just put it on my belt and walk away. No, I have to disassemble it if I would do that. So there are some changes in that. But yes, it started out by trying to see what the Star Wars movies are doing. Now, there has been an anthropologist that looked at the Star Wars movies and thought, you know what? I see some different styles of fighting. I'm going to give those different names. It was an anthropologist, and for as far as my sources go, that he or she didn't know anything about fighting at all. So a non-fighter saw the movies and thought, let's give some names, like Shisho, Makasi, and whatever names you have. So yes, Ludosport started out using some of those terms because it was just three friends trying to do fun stuff. So obviously they have to create some fun elements. But then got real. There were people interested in, okay, you see, we can see you can fight with these weapons. I want to learn that as well. But that meant that, okay, we have to change things. So they altered a few things, and now we have our own symbols, our own lore. We have other names for all the techniques that we do. Still, obviously, in resemblance with Star Wars and the lore created there, but taken one single piece into our universe and created a whole new universe around it here in our universe.
And I think it's really lovely because especially there's like a fantasy element as well in there. And with this, if you just like just touch someone, it's already like considered a hit.
Yes.
Because of the rules behind the workings of the sword.
Yes.
And or saber. And there's this thing that comes especially with the sparring. I see it also as a form of bonding between two people, especially like during the sport, because you're not just like reenacting like the characters you saw, but also having a fun time with it with your friend.
Yeah. The sport is not intended as being a cosplay event. If you want to, obviously you can, but the sport is intended to be a story where you are the protagonist. You are the protagonist in your story with the lightsaber. You don't need to recreate someone from the movie, someone from the comics, someone from the... you don't have to. You can be yourself, and you will be the hero or the villain. And you are the protagonist of your story. Yes, true. And about the hitting for the rules, we have two areas that we distinguish. We have the non-lethal and the lethal areas. Now, face, we don't hit the face. We do hit the head, but lightly. Again, we touch. So we have the non-lethal areas. That's like elbow and then down below. Non-lethal, the hilt as well, and the knee and down. So when you lose the lowest part of your leg or your lower arm, you could still continue fighting. Now you have to declare that you are being struck. You say E. That's what you say. You open up like, oh, I'm hit, no, and then you get back into the fight again. And how you enact that, how long that takes, depends on the fighter. If you have a very fast fighter in front of you, you might want to be a bit quicker.
Yes.
But you represent an opportunity for your opponent to do a lethal strike. And the lethal strike is just the rest of the body. So your head, elbow up, and knee up. Again, I would like to avoid the groin and the face, but if it's a hit, it's a hit. And that's a lethal hit. And if you get hit there, just the lightest touch, you get hit there. That's an O. You self-declare, you say O, and you've scored a point. And well, depending on what you have established with the rules of the tournament or of the fight, you go to 3 points, or you go to 7 points, or you do. We have a scoring system. There are judges, official judges. that could take over the point system. So they say, okay, now stop the fighting. We saw an O, so point to you. They keep the score. If you're just with friends, you self-declare and you keep the tally yourself. So yeah, you can strike an E on a non-lethal target and then follow up with an O on a lethal target to get a final point. And if you're not quick enough, then, well, you hit an E and we just continue until we're back. So with...
Which one is higher, the E or the O, like points-wise?
Oh, the E is non-lethal, so you just open up and you continue. You give an opportunity for your opponent. There's no points. Only a lethal hit, an O, will get you a point. An E is just, okay, I've been hurt. You might have a chance of getting a point if you go for a follow-up hit by an O. So there's no other pointing system. Not like if you hit the chest, it's 3 points, and the head is 5 points. No, it's just if you hit somewhere lethal, it's a point. If you hit somewhere non-lethal, you have to open up, and if you miss, you miss.
So take me through the lessons and how far you go when you're learning something. You explained it to me a lot earlier because we were doing the first form. Was that just completely from the beginning?
Yes, we did. Searching for an appropriate picture at the moment, or, well, maybe not. I don't really care. Yes. So during the lessons, it's a sport. So we start with warming up. We have to get the body ready, and we need to take care of our own body. So warming up is both to get your body in stance for sports, and we need to do a warming up so you can self-assess if something is wrong with your body. We take care of our body both in a preventive and in an active manner during the warming up. Several exercises can be done depending on what the lesson will entail. If there will be a lot of leg work, you focus on a bit more leg work. Now, because we're using a saber, there's always one type of warming up that you never skip, and that is trying to do some stretching movements for your wrists. You will use your wrists, so we have some basic movements with your wrists, like rotations and lateral movements, so you can stretch the tendons and the wrist yourself and make sure that you will not be injured at your wrist. If you want to duel and you don't want to do a warming up, you still warm up your wrists. That takes between 10 and 20 minutes, depending on the lesson. Then we have the lesson itself. So we do drills, we do new techniques, we go through different exercises to improve yourself. You use a sparring partner or not. And again, with everything, we try to take care that we don't drop the blade and drop the hilt. If we do that, there's electronics inside it. Electronics are fragile. There's a speaker inside it, not meant to be hit. Obviously, speakers are not designed to be hit. So if we drop the saber, you do push-ups. Come on, you don't drop the saber. You don't. And we take care of our opponents by not hitting hard. We're not going full in. No, we're trying to practice. We're trying to drill things. So we take care of ourselves and our opponents and our equipment.
Especially with that speed, you have to, and the hitting, you have to have control of that, or else you can it can get you can hit the wrong way.
Yes, and as with anything you need to train your body to, you do it slow until it becomes smooth. Slow is smooth, and if it's smooth, you will get faster without trying to get faster. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. If you try to get on fast right away, you lack technique, you lack coordination, you're not taking care of the entire situation, and obviously I will call you out and discuss what's going on and try to slow you down so you can get into the slow is smooth, smooth is fast rhythm. Yes.
As you should, because I know when you go like a lot faster, you can see the parts that the students aren't doing correctly, or with yourself, like when you're starting out and you learn something new and you think you got it, but you want to continue, and get faster and faster, you can
Yes.
see like the parts where you like make the mistakes.
Yes, yes, as well. Yeah, the certain you can do a technique in like 2 or 3 points. Like there are 2 or 3 points in between you do a movement. But you could break those up in, I don't know, 20 other points. So as long as you do them slow, I can, okay, check, up, higher, lower, and take care. What usually happens if someone starts off holding a saber is they do clashes diagonally to the blade. So we're focused on the blade and we hit the blade. But we don't want to hit the blade in a real fight. We want to hit our opponent. But if I take this approach, the diagonal approach, into a fight and someone is not blocking, it's an automatic hit to the face. So I don't want to do that. So we have to do the techniques where you have to hit the side of your arm, the lower side of your upper arm, or the top of the head, and only there, no other place, not higher, not lower, and enforce. So you will get that time after time after time on that spot. Not too high, so you don't hit the face, not too low, so you don't hit the groin, not to the side of the face, not to the front of the face. Build it in slow. And then at the end of the lesson, or at least after the last half an hour of the lesson, we ditch the training, we get fully geared, we turn them on, and we see if we can take all that we have learned into practice, and we do combat. And again, you can do combat in many variations as well, like King of the Hill combat, or just dueled instructor, or whatever kind of duel you do. But obviously, we end with sabers lit on, and we duel. Yeah.
How do you turn on the lightsaber?
Well, there's an internal joke in Ludosport with the first generation sabers, because they were quite finicky. As you can see, this saber has no edges, no square things, except for one thing here. We need to charge it, but that's encapsulated, so it's still smooth. It's all smooth. Now mine is a bit battered, I know, but it's all smooth. With the other one, you have a button. What a button means, there's something I can slip, I can scratch myself, I can hurt myself. I want to take care of myself again, so we have no button. That means we need to make some gestures to turn it on. Now, that used to be rather finicky, and then the meme was like, okay, you first have to sacrifice a goat and then run 3 circles around the building, and then hopefully, maybe it would turn on. And if not, sacrifice another goat. Not sure if actual... Sorry?
I thought the one like what your student said of oh, the lightsaber turned on, you're worthy.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's another thing. Like, if it is activated in the sense that it can be activated, at the moment it's off. I need to unscrew the cap. Then it can turn on sometimes if you make the right gesture. So if you were dueling and it's somehow turned on, yes, you're worthy. You can wield this saber. It's more like a Thor reference with the hammer than a Star Wars reference. But hey, it works. It works. So what do? To turn it on, you do the salute before you start a battle. Now, we always need to be. We have respect to one another. Whatever happens, we have respect. You bring something to the lesson. You bring something to the fight. I bring something to the lesson. I bring something to the fight. So we respect one another. So we greet. Within judo, you also have respect to the whole. So you also greet the whole and make all the spirits friendly and whatever mystical things I've missed in my education. So, maybe there are some judokas that are now screaming, no, but okay. So you have respect. So we greet, so you hold it up, and then you slide it down to the ground at around 45 degrees, and that is the moment it should turn on. Again, I told you it should turn on. Now, this is a more improved model. This is more reliable, but still not 100% reliable. There's a newer model with newer software on the market that is even more reliable on turning on. But hey, if everything fails, you unscrew the pommel where the electronics are in. There's a button there, and if you hit the button, it turns on. With
the sound effects and everything.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit loud, but I'll turn it off.
Like I thought it was like playing music as well, but then I was like, oh no, it's like the actual sound of like if there was like a laser there, and then when it gets hit on the spot as well, like that part lights up, and like that's what I like about it, because it just doesn't just like entirely like turn like, oh, it got hit. It just like that spot as well,
Yeah, well,
where the other thing is coming in.
that's not really what's happening, but that's due to physics and bending of the blade that does happen. Well, as you saw, I just held it up horizontally and it turned off. Again, gesture activated. So if I would now place it upright and place it down, it has turned on. If you move it, you can hear moving sounds. If you hit, there are hit sounds, and you see the color changing, green
to red.
Now I'll turn it off.
Because it's a bit loud.
I know it's a bit loud. It's a bit loud. So yes, it has those nice features. You can program this with any color you would like. There's just RGB LEDs in it, including some white, so you can change it to any color you want. If it swings, it could have a totally different color. If it hits, it could have a totally different color. You can reprogram all the audio files if you really want to. And the fact that you see the light where it hits, because if you hit it, this bends a bit, so the light is more concentrated on that spot. That's never ever used, because you can see it changing color and you can hear, and someone has to say O or E. So there are several ways that someone's being hit. The reason why it's so loud is not to be annoying when you're alone, because I think it is rather annoying if you're alone, in opinion. It's because your opponent needs to hear your saber's movement. So you have more senses that you can bring into the fight. Because if you can hear the saber of your opponent moving and see the saber of your opponent moving, you have two senses that can register and do some reactions towards that motion. Well, if there wasn't any sound, you only have your eyes. Well, it's a light, it shines towards your opponent, so you're not blinded, but hey, it's a light. We have techniques to use that light to disguise what we're doing. And then sound helps to distinguish what our opponent actually is doing. So we need loud sound, not for ourselves, but for our opponent. We are being at service to our opponent with a very loud sound. I do have altered one of the audio banks to have some softer sounds if I do want some sounds, but I don't want to be that loud. Then I have some softer sounds as well. Not installed at the moment.
Like you could just have like a purple, program a purple light like Samuel L. Jackson's.
I could, yes, I could. Well, one of my students really loves the purple lightsaber and the pink one. So there was a day where there weren't that many people, so I was like, okay, well, you just train with this one and choose your light. I'll turn off the sound, and you can battle with your lights on without any sound to do the trainer. And that was just awesome. She really enjoyed that. Yeah.
So we're speaking of like of the forms. What
Yes.
You taught me the first form, but how many forms are there, and how many ranks are there in Ludosport?
That is a very good question. I'll see if I have a very nice picture with that, because I should have a very nice picture with that. But where is it? Okay, I'll kind of explain. It's okay. If I find it up, you'll see it on the screen. There are several forms. Let's start with that. There are, in Star Wars, there are registered 9 forms, I believe. They all have their special names. Now, Ludosport started with 9 forms as well, called Form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That was easy. But it's a rather new sport, so some of the forms are still being developed. So at the moment, there is no Form 8, there is no Form 9, and they've reused those symbols for different weapons. Now, what do? You start with Form 1. Form 1 teaches you basic handling of the sword. Almost all techniques are with 2 hands, so we have more control. They're all from a stationary position. You always face your opponent, except for one exception, because of human mechanics. You cannot do anything on one side and on the other side the same way. We have basic attacks and basic defenses, creating a protective sphere around yourself and creating an attacking sphere around your opponent. You will always move in a circular position around your opponent, trying to penetrate their circle of defense while keeping up your own circle of defense. So that's in general form 1. It's controlling your saber in a safe way while having very balanced and powerful attacks and defenses. If something goes haywire, you can always fall back on form 1 and be safe. Form 1 is a very safe way in both attacking and defending, from a combat perspective, that is. Now, in form 2, we go to one-handed grip. We take a more sideways stance and we go on a more attacking line. We try to get into the circle of our opponent. So in form 1, we were moving around the circle, trading it with some attacks. In form 2, we are just going into our target's protective area. That's form 2. Way more aggressive, way more fencing-like. Obviously, without all the thrusts, but way more fencing-like. There are less defensive options, but hey, you're moving back and forward so quickly, as long as you take enough distance, you are still safe. With this and the learn of the one-handed grip, we extend the knowledge of safety and we extend your own capabilities with the lightsaber. Now, then you can get to form 3, but before you get to form 3, you have to make a choice, because form 3 is available in 3 different weapons. We have the long single saber, as shown here. So long single saber. It's a long single saber. But if we take 2 of these sabers, do I have another one? Yes, it's another one. I take this one. We can unscrew the ends and combine them together with a coupler. That means that you get a very famous from the movies staff. And to work with a staff is different than to work with a long saber. So that's another weapon. What you also can do is you take 2 blades, 2 sabers, not connect them, but just take 2 separate. Make the blade shorter, and then you have 2 dual-wielding blades. I believe there is a name for that in Star Wars. We just have double.
Like 2 short swords.
2 short swords, yes, yes. With the staff, so the double-bladed, you also have slightly shorter things, because if you do all the nice spins, you will hit the floor with a staff if you use the regular blade. So they had to create a bit smaller blades, and then with the dual wielding, you need even smaller blades. So that means that you have 1 year in which you try out all the different weapons and all different techniques, and you already get a boost for the forms 3, 4, and 5, and 6 and 7. So that's what we call form Y or form Upsilon. In that form, you learn more with the single blades, and you learn with the staff and the double. After that, you will specialize in either the single, the double, or the dual wielding. The single, the staff, or the dual wielding, or you do them one at a time. Form 3 staff, form 3 dual wielding, and form 3 single. Whatever, up to you. Then you have form 3, 4, and 5. Now, not all of these forms are yet finished. The founding fathers and the Ludosport masters are still finalizing some of these forms. Last year, they introduced form 3 with a dual wielding, and upcoming summer they will introduce form 4 with dual wielding and staff form 3. So we're getting there. It's a new sport. We need to develop new things, and probably in 10 years, some of those forms will have changed because of balancing things or the techniques that come from the community. So you do form 3, 4, 5 in one of those weapons. And I believe there's only 6 and 7 in one single blade. and there's no 8 and 9, and maybe 6 and 7 has been reused as well. I'm not really sure about that because I'm not there yet. I don't need to worry about that yet. Also, not all the forms has yet been formalized. Now, the main issue from Star Wars is those forms have some specialities in Star Wars. Like if you take the second form, Akashi, that is designed to be best at dueling another blade, and it can always best form 1. That is how Shicho and Makashi from Star Wars are designed. Now, in Ludosport, we don't do that. We have the blade from the Star Wars universe, and we have our universe. So what is the main goal of Ludosport? All forms and all weapons should be at a 50-50 chance of winning or losing if you have comparable athletes fighting each other. So a Form 1 student that only uses Form 1 could be able to win from a Form 6 double dual wielder. Should be able to. Now, maybe a Form 1 student has only 1 year of experience, while a Form 6 dual wielder has, well, at least 7 years of training. So they're not at a comparable level. But if you would take 2 students of roughly the same athletic level and force them to do just one form, 50-50 chance either one will win. With any blade, with any weapon, with any form. That's how they are designed. Now, in a real battle, you can use all forms intertwined. But if you really perform all the forms with their proper techniques, you will have a different grading system during a tournament. But I guess we'll come to tournaments at a later stage during this talk.
Yes.
So a lot of forms, not yet all codified, not yet all complete, but the main basics with the single lightsaber is there. And with all the other weapons, they are being brought to us from the Ludosport masters.
Yes, I'm hoping to see more.
Yes.
Because yeah, you did the first form for teaching as well, or did you go a lot further?
No, I'm just Form 1, and I can only do Form 1. I'm a teacher of Form 1, and I'm an athlete of Form 1, I guess. I can do some techniques of the other forms for showcasing. I do not want to bring them into battle. I am not proficient enough to bring them into battle. As I stated, I've just started this, or maybe that hasn't been stated. I've just started this this summer. I've done my courses this summer, so I don't have the hours yet. I don't have the knowledge yet. And I'm the first one in the Netherlands that is a recognized teacher in Ludosport. I'm not the first athlete. There are 2 other athletes in the Netherlands that live here in the Netherlands, besides for me, obviously. But I like the hours. I like the experiments. I'm just starting. So I'm just a Form 1 athlete, and I'm a Form 1 instructor. And hopefully next year I will be a Form 2 athlete and a Form 2 instructor, so I can teach my graduated Form 1 students in Form 2. And the year after that, Form Y, and the year after that, Form 3, and 4, 5, 6, growing on. That means if you combine everything, there's at least 14 years of knowledge that you can fill for the upcoming 14 years with new techniques and new things. So no, just a Form 1 teacher at the moment.
Do you have any speculations on which weapons might be taken from fiction and perhaps added to Ludosport?
I don't know. I don't have any speculations. I think that we already have 3 weapons. Do you really need a 4th one? And what kind of weapon would that be? And how would you be able to balance that weapon? Those are all questions I don't have an answer to. I don't think I will ever have an answer to, at least not me, because I just lack the experience. And as told, I just did judo, and then I did, dancing and swimming and the tennis, but no other combat sports. While the Ludosport Masters and the entire community bring so much more knowledge from also other combat sports and about other sports in general and about techniques. The entire Ludosport community will provide if another weapon is needed. Now, I think with just one weapon, it would have been an awesome sport. but we already have got 3 weapons, and they're being developed, and it's just awesome. Will there be other weapons? I don't know. Do we see a lot of other weapons in the movies? Yeah, we see the Kylo Ren one with the cross guard. Yeah, that means there's another thing you could get hurt by.
Yeah.
So from a safety perspective, again, my opinion, maybe others see there's a lot of safety in that, but I, from a safety perspective, see only hazards coming from those kinds of weapons. Now, there are other weapons where you have 3 lightsabers, or you have the more extended ones, or you have weird power things, or gloves, or I don't know. Will it work? Well, if history taught us anything, if we see from HEMA, the sword is always the go-to weapon of choice. You can specialize in other things, but it's usually the sword that's always the primary one. So yeah, I think sword will work. And if we get a staff and we get 2 daggers, I think we're set. And I know there are other sports where you do sword and dagger and then shield and go. That might be possible. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I think for now, I have enough years to look forward to training new, learning new things.
Of course, because I have seen the other stuff, but more as like props for costumes and not really decorations. You also have them as decorations, but more for not really like used for actual sparring, more LARPing, as they say.
Yes. Well, obviously, you LARPing and cosplay, and it has some very nice overlapping areas. Obviously, our weapons are not, at least from the Dutch perspective. I don't know from other countries, are not LARP proof. They are hard, and they will be very hard when you do not control them. So I don't want to use my weapons at LARPing unless I face someone who knows how to do Ludosport and has the values and the techniques, so we can both spar safely. I will not bring my saber to a LARPing contest. I won't. I know how hard it can be, and if someone thinks, oh, it's a foam sword, they will be in for a painful surprise. But it doesn't mean that you cannot get weapons like the lightsaber and like LARPing with all the different designs and use them. Please do use them. And then during class, please use the sabers that are regulated by Ludosport.
Yes, of course, because safety reasons, and they're not going to be doing the thing that you actually want to during the sport. If you're
The most
if you're not using the right ones.
Yeah. And the most heard comment when you look for Ludosport videos on YouTube, the most heard comment is like, "We're slow and not effective." And I totally agree. We are slow, and we are not effective, but we are also very fast and very effective at our goals. Our goal is not to get the hit for death or get a quick thing we are a sport that wants to have some technique and have some control, and we just need to touch. If you go too fast, you will not touch, but you will destroy.
Because this is an important thing that you are talking about, like the control. And if people are thinking they can just like go really fast in like another sport and stuff, no.
Never.
Like for all the other stuff, you also need to learn this discipline of control and touch as well. Especially since you have to be able to read the situation and know the rules of the other stuff as well. If your instructor is telling you, hey, don't, for safety reasons, we do this. For safety reasons, don't do that. And this is like a way of also learning some discipline as well, and to take care of your partner who you are sparring with.
Yeah, and know the common goal. I'm not sure about other martial arts, but I'll try. And if not, it's just an example. If you do judo, your main goal is to make your opponent fall on the back. And if your opponent is not willing to go on the back, you go into ground movements to make sure your opponent is on its back. That's the goal. Get your opponent on the back. Now with boxing, I don't believe the objective objective is get your opponent on the back. I think the objective is, well, hit, go for a knockout. That means your opponent will be on the back, but for different reasons.
Yes.
And with other sports, you can make some analogies. So if I take another sport and I try and combat someone from Ludosport, we first need to talk about, okay, but what's our aim? Because if our aim is to get someone on the ground, Ludosport is not designed to get to the ground. So we won't. There are some techniques that will get me through the ground with some rolls and spins and whatever, again, in a controlled and maybe some fashion. And, oh, yes, it's amazing, we do a roll-like way, but our main purpose is not to land flat on the floor. Our main purpose is to get a touch on an area defined on the body. There's need for grabbing and for strangling and for whatever kind of other things you need to do. So get those priorities right. Now, within Ludosport, you just need to touch. There's no need for fast and speed and violence. You just touch. And that makes it safer. So yes, everyone who would like to do something with lightsaber, please do so, but slow and safe, and take care of everything around you, especially when doing it indoors. You don't want to destroy things.
Yes, I do think this is like good for people who want to like who don't want to go to like too intense in the sense of like with boxing or fencing, or but just like something a lot more fun in the sense, but still has that sense of discipline, and where you can still work on this type of stuff.
Yeah, completely true. You can do a lightsaber combat or just any combat by just get a broom or an umbrella or a long stick. Just go into the wood, find a long stick, and you can start practicing. And the level of control that you have with your stick or with your weapon will differ when you grab another stick and another umbrella because of weight and balance and length and all the other things. But start slow. Don't hit for the blade of your opponent, because you're not trying to hit your blade of the opponent. You're trying to hit your opponent, but that means you hit your opponent. So do that slow, do that carefully. Strike as hard as you would like to be struck within the sparring environment. Some people, please do that. But again, you need consent for that as well.
Yes, exactly.
And within Ludosport, you need consent as well. If we're gonna do Ludosport, we have consent that we will touch and not destroy. We have consent. So start slow, build it up, take it easy, and have fun.
But what I also notice is that your reaction speed, like your reaction time, also improves when doing it, because you're not going to be able to know how fast your opponent is, and you will have to match that and react to their hits.
Yes, definitely. It's a coordination game between your senses and your body. So your reaction time and your coordination will improve. Yes. There are techniques that you can use to, disguise your movements. If you point the saber, if you point the saber, hi, that's my saber. Now I could turn my saber around as I'm doing right now, but you won't see that my hand, well, you can see where my hand is. My hand was here, and now my hand is here. But the only thing you see is a very big dot in the middle, because it's still aligned with the camera. So you can see like this. I was here, and then I align with the camera. I'm still aligned with the camera. So the only thing you see is a bright spot in your eyes. But what I know is I am already at one side, charging for an attack, preparing for an attack. So we can disguise what we're doing by pointing the tip of our blade towards the eyes of our opponent. That's what we do in Form 1. We aim with the tip of our saber at the eyes of the opponent, so we can disguise the depth where we're actually coming from. And that means your reaction time has to become even faster, because as soon as I move my dot out of the way, I could be so much closer than you thought I would be. You increase your reaction time. But to increase your reaction time, you start slow, get to know what techniques there are, and then speed it up while getting from slow to smooth and from smooth to fast. And then you speed up and speed up and speed up while you progress along. And that means your reaction time will progress along. In the same way, you don't need to practice your reaction time in that sense. If you just follow slow, smooth, smooth is fast, your reaction time will follow it along, at least from my experience with other sports as well. And then we get into the sneaky stuff where we point the tip at the rise and we disguise what we're doing. And you need to increase your coordination and your reaction time even further. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I just like about it, because it is like a mix of like some things that I've seen in other techniques that involve swords, but with that added element of the light as well.
Yes.
And especially that part where you said, like during the class, your foot has to point towards your opponent. I have seen that as well in other fighting sports as well. It is a very important element as well, because especially for balance, and you are fighting against your opponent.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. Now here we see a nice example of two people. Hi, it's me again. Trying to duke it out. We are obviously in action. You don't stand on one feet, as you can see. The other one is leaning on the lightsaber. You don't lean on the lightsaber, but in a motion, it looks like we do. As you see, we both wear protection. We both wear gloves. In both these moments, we are performing an action. We're doing a fluid motion. So our saber is already away from pointing at your opponent's eye. So we are already at another start. And you can see from the blurriness of my foot and the blurriness of my gloves what kind of motion I'm doing. I'm trying to do an attack to the side. I'm trying to hit the shoulder at the far end of my opponent. Now my opponent just did something. Was coming out of something, and I saw the opening, like, okay, the saber is out of the way. It was an attack. The attack missed. Saber's out of the way, so I go in. I get that reaction time. I go in. I know that I don't need to fool my opponent, because my opponent is not yet ready to get within in a defensive position if I would be very fast. Now, it happened to be that I totally missed. Doesn't matter for the story, but here you can see that that action. Like, okay, I am in the time of my opponent. My opponent missed, and I'm trying to attack within the time of the attack of my opponent. Thereby, I can eliminate that point, and I can eliminate that disguise. But that's where I was. I was in that disguise, pointing my tip at my opponent's side, as a demonstration of what we just talked about. Yes.
Is this a video or just a picture?
This is just a picture. This is just a picture. I do have a video if you want to.
Yes.
But we do just some techniques. I'll see if I can get that. I should have the here. Sorry, double screen. I love that. Ooh, everyone can see into my computer. That's okay.
Okay, I can just like
no.
That's
okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I think it's this one. I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay. Let's get this one. Okay. So here. Wait. There's no sound.
Oh, I think you can.
Yeah, but there is no sound because the sound is just clashing.
Oh.
There's no other sound. So here we are in that same stance. You can see I'm almost doing that same attack. My opponent is getting ready. I'm just going to slash at my opponent, and my opponent takes over. And this is, well, at full speed. Yes, this is at full speed. Now we have drilled this. And now we switch. Now he takes the offensive. I know what he's going to do. This has been rehearsed a bit, but the speed and the way of battling is, and a nice finisher. Oh yeah, a nice finisher.
Oh, nice.
Do it again. I love that finisher. I just love that finisher. It's a very cool, easy trick. Let's do it again. So I start with some simple attacks to the head and to the side, and then we switch up, and he goes into attacks to my legs and to my head. Now you can see I'm already gaining what I should be doing. I do another attack, and at my last attack, he slices through me. He doesn't really slice through me. It's a finisher move. But in a sense, you see we are dancing around each other. We're not doing a linear pose. We're not only twirling around each other. We're doing some rotations, trying to get around the saber of our opponent, trying to land a hit without our opponent's blade in the way. Now, again, this was rehearsed, but it doesn't make it any less real in the sense that we were trying to hit each other, not trying to hit each other's blade. Because if we're going for the blade, you would see that difference at an instant. And we wanted to add a nice finisher at the end where he cut my belly open, because why not? Why not? So yeah, this, nice. Thank you for showing that.
Was this from Italy?
No, this is in the Netherlands. This is one of the other athletes that got here. He's a guy from Austria and then from Sweden, and then he studied at Gothenburg. There's a Ludosport there, so if there are any viewers from Gothenburg, hi! There's a lightsaber, a Ludosport academy there as well. He trained there for 3 years, then he got to the Netherlands. There was no Ludosport hall until I came about, so he signed up just the instant he knew there was a Ludosport hall. So we drilled this for a demonstration purpose, and then we trained this. He can do Form 1 and Form 2, and I can do Form 1. So we did some Form 1 stuff, including a nice finisher, obviously.
You spoke about the rankings as well. A novice,
yes.
Yes.
Yes. And with that, we have some clothing etiquette as well. Ludosport created from Italy, so all the terms are in Italian. E and O, don't know what they mean in Italian, but they're supposed to be Italian. When you start off with Ludosport, you are a novizio. You're just a novice. You're starting with something, so novizio. If you want to buy some clothing for being a novizio, you get the combat pants, nice pants with the nice pendant on it. Nice pants. They're really comfortable. They're they're made by Lama de Lucci. That has a slogan that they are everyday warriors, and I just wear these pants just around the house for work. They're just really comfortable, really comfortable. And you have a black T-shirt with the logo on the back. That's your novizio outfit. Now, depending on the hall and depending on the instructor, as soon as you have shown that you can do the core values of Ludosport, the 3 pillars, respect, care, and service. We have respect to one another and to ourselves and to the hall and to everyone else. We take care of ourselves, another, and all the equipment. And we are at service. So if my sparring partner is struggling with something, I slow down. If my partner wants to train something, I adapt. If my partner just wants to hit targets, I'll be a test dummy, a battle droid, standing still while someone hits me. Yeah, there are some Star Wars puns, obviously. Not that much. So we are being at service. Now, if you really live those 3 pillars and you are really engaged with the Ludosport community, you can be graduated from a novizio to a iniziato. And with an iniziato, you get this breviary color. Now, I have shown my interest by becoming an instructor without having an instructor, so I am at least past the novizio stage. And with that, you get this tunic, this black tunic as well. So you have the sub tunic again that is to your shoulder with a belt, and you get this tunic for the official occasions, as it is now. That's why I'm wearing the black tunic as well. Black tunic is a bit longer, and the sub tunic is all bare arms. So within your first year, maybe after your first year, maybe during your second year, depending on the hole, depending on the instructor, you graduate from novicio to iniziato. Then at the end of your 3rd year, you take an exam to finish up the primary education, the Form 1, 2, and Upsilon. So the primary education is then finished. And at the end of the primary education, very good, you can rank up a bit more. I have to get to the words correctly. You have Cavaliere, I guess it's Cavaliere, knight translated. You can become knight. You are proficient, you can do good things. You can then also choose the color of your lightsaber. When you're an iniziato e novicio, during class, you have to have a blue lightsaber. During sparring and having fun, whatever. But during official trainings and official tournaments, you wear the appropriate clothing. So that's either the black tee or the beavery skin tunic, and you have the blue saber. After your 3rd year, you are being graduated to a cavaliere, to a knight. Then you can choose the color of your blade, and you can wear the color of your blade at official tournaments and during classes. And you may wear another color. There are 4 other colors: red, orange, yellow, and green. I'm not there yet. Obviously, I'm only Form 1. I can, as a teacher, use another color during classes, but during tournaments, I'm still an iniziato, so I still use the blue color.
Yes.
Then you go for a specification in one of the 3 weapons, and you follow a path. And after 3 years, or after you have done your 6th year, your Form 6 in one of the weapons, you can take another exam, and you can excel in that weapon. You will become a specialized, you become an academico. And with an academico, you can still have the same colors and same things, but we change something about the tunic. Now there is this, nice. There's this flap here in front. Hi, flappy thing. And that's this long. Yeah, I know.
Yes.
And when you graduate to that final form, this flappy thing gets longer. That's basically the difference. But it's a recognizable difference. Very recognizable. So those are the ranks of the athletes. Now there is one level beyond that, but because the sport is so young, that doesn't exist yet. No one is yet able to achieve that, but it will in the future. It will in the future.
What are the outfits inspired by? Because they look like they have a bit of everything in it.
I guess that's true. I haven't talked to the designer, but I guess it is true. Obviously, you see a lot of it's a tunic. You have these things. You have the belt in the middle. You have the flap hanging in front of it. It is Asian inspired. It is Western inspired. It's movie inspired. I don't know what the main source is, but I guess inspiration comes from many places. And again, I haven't talked with the designer. I just know that the pants. I really love the pants.
Because I feel like this version works a lot better with the actual sparring than the movie version.
I guess. I'm not sure. I've never worn the movie part, but it looks heavy and thick.
Yes.
Well, this gives you way more freedom. You ditch most of the cloth. It's still hot because this is double layered, so that still gets a bit hot. Not in the Netherlands, but maybe in Spain, it gets a bit hot. So maybe they will change some of the outfits to make it a bit more comfortable for those hotter countries. But here in the Netherlands, it's okay. I usually wear both tunics, and then halfway sparring, I can ditch the over tunic, the official tunic, because then I get hot. But here in the Netherlands, we have slightly different temperature gradings.
Yes.
But the true inspiration, I don't know, but I can see a lot of similarities and a lot of inspirations from other things. Obviously, it's clothing. It's a knight. It's with a sword, with a lightsaber. There will be inspiration. Yes. So this was the athlete's path. You also have an educational path. Within an educational path, you have also certain levels. You have the athlete. Well, okay, you're an athlete. Nothing else. Then you are instruttore, the teacher. I'm at that level. You can teach a class using any colors of the 4 colors of tunic and any color of the blade. But as an athlete, you still go to your own level. But as an instruttore, you can get other colors. That's a privilege, so to say. And you wear a braid on your belt. I don't have the braid. Don't know why, but I don't have the braid. I think I still need to order it. And you wear that around your belt so other people can see, oh, that is today the instructor. During a tournament, I ditch that because in a tournament, I'm an athlete, I'm not an instructor, so you don't see that I'm an instructor. Then then we have one level above that, and that's the technico. A technico is so knowledgeable about one form that the technico can teach to other athletes how to teach that form. So it's a teacher of instructores, a technico. And a technico knows so much about the form that the technico realized that the technico doesn't know anything about the form. That's a usual understanding. Like, I know so much that I know so little. I understand, I still have a lot to learn. So out of respect, they bow their head to knowledge that there is so much more they need to learn. And there is a nice flower that bows with their head. And that is why they have the wisteria color, the purple color of the wisteria flower that bows its head because it knows there's still so much to learn. And those are those 3 levels.
This is interesting. I did not know about the wisteria as well, because I love the purple wisteria. It looks like it's from a fantasy world as well.
Could be. I don't know where they got the inspiration. Well, I just told you where the inspiration got from that flower. I really like the way. Yes, it is really sci-fi with that color. I know. There's one level above the Technico as well, and those are that's the Ludosport Masters, the SLM. At the moment, those are also the founding fathers, because again, no one has reached that level as an athlete yet, for as far as I know, and they can teach the Technico. And then you go down the path. But yes, we have the nice wisteria color as well.
Do you have a picture of that by any chance? Or
do I have a picture of that? That's a very good question. I do not, but I can search on on the YouTubes and on Facebook and Instagram or whatever. That is something I could. Let's.
Okay, because there was like I saw the wisteria on Facebook and such. Yeah, it's not Facebook anymore, but whatever. And I was looking like if there's like a place in the Netherlands that has the tree, because I found the flowers so beautiful.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know everything about flowers. So I don't know. Oh, let's see. There's one here. I know I may use it, so that's always nice. Oh, yes, nice. Could you share this on the screen, please? It should be still sharing, right? Yes. Ah, nice. This is Lorenzo. Lorenzo is wearing the wisteria color. Lorenzo is also the first student of Ludosport, of the SLM Master, so he has a special place in all of our hearts. I don't know if he's watching it. Hi, I've got your picture. And he said he's wearing that wisteria color. You can also see on his tunic, he has that round symbol.
Yes.
You see that white round symbol? That's a symbol of Form 1, the circle, because of that protective sphere around yourself and the attacking sphere around your opponent. I can show you all the others. It's okay. Is it okay? Can I go back? Ooh, I can. A lot of things. Let's go to the officials. Almost there. Sorry, almost there. And image big. Yes, here we go. If you show this screen, I think it will be okay for all the others. Now here are all the forms. So Form 1. Yes, there in blue, that's that circle of Form 1. Then Form 2, that is more of a cone-like shape, because we want to penetrate the circle of our opponent. So we want to attack towards our opponent. Form 3, we are more in a rounded way. We do circles, we do all kinds of movements, so we are way more flowy. We are reactive to our opponents. Obviously, we're also active and also we are also engaging, but we are more reactive, making a defensive, nice swirling movement. We have some high guards that do this swirling movement, as you see on the screen. With Form 4, we are standing our ground. We are in part of the fight. This is Form 4. Form 5. With Form 5, we are taking. No, I need to get this one. We're taking the battle to our opponent, so we are taking the initiative. Form 5, we're taking the initiative. Obviously, we do that in Form 3 and 4 as well, but Form 5 is generally regarded as taking the initiative. And we can challenge our opponent into tricking things. So I make a feint to the right, and then I do a swivel and attack on the left, because my opponent expected me to do something. I take control of the fight. And then you have all the other forms as well, which are obviously decommissioned. Now, Form Epsilon looks like this. Why does it look like this? Well, in Form Epsilon, you get to know the other two forms. So in this form, you can see that there's a long line, that is the staff, and we get the two shorter ones, which are the dual weapons. So in Form Epsilon, you learn these other two forms, which are incorporated in the design of the form. I love it. I love it from a design perspective and a story perspective. I just love it.
It's because the lines themselves, they remind me of if the light is going really fast, like you see that kind of like the streak.
Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. True, I can see that as well. And other things as well. Yeah. So that was the wisteria color, right? This one.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
And the symbol of the first form.
And the symbol of the first form. Yes. So he is a Technico of Form 1. At least that is what he is displaying at this moment. He's a Technico of which form? Look at his subtunic of Form 1. Now he's a Technico of probably of more forms. He is the first student after all, so he has been with the founding masters ever since. So probably he's a Technico in all forms, but I don't know. I need to ask him. But at least Technico of Form 1.
So speaking of the first student, when were the first tournaments?
The first tournaments, well, they were rather quick, actually, because as soon as you have students, you want to do tournaments. So they started to do national tournaments in quite rapidly after starting the lessons. In 2014, they went outside of Italy, and I believe that 2015 was already the first international tournament, and that is still happening every year. Obviously, there has been some development in the last years, but the next international tournament is in Milan, 4 and 5 December, and it's a team arena tournament. So you have to sign up with a team. They're trying different rule sets and different ways of tactics, but there has been international tournaments. Well. Almost since conception, almost since there were athletes to make tournaments with. Yeah.
So,
there aren't any national tournaments yet in the Netherlands.
Yet.
I need to organize them. I have more to do than organize a tournament. But maybe in the future there will be. I will not be attending the international tournament. Again, you need a team. And I
Where are those usually held?
Where those usually held? Well, there's usually a Champions Arena in Italy, but next year that will hopefully be in Sweden. I really want to attend that one. But international tournaments could be held anywhere as long as you organize them and people will show up. You can do an international tournament. And the obvious follow-up question, we have national tournaments. And in a country like Sweden, there are so many athletes that you need a national to distinguish who is allowed to go to the international tournament. And what's the step above international? Olympic, obviously. So when are we at the Olympics? Well, for the Olympics, we have you have some guidelines. You need to be present in all 5 continents. At the moment, we miss 1 continent, but that was not the case 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we were in all 5 continents. So if I heard correctly, we did apply, but that's not possible anymore because one of the continents was lost. I guess, again, something happened in the last 2 years and that we all know of. So as soon as we have another hole in the 1 missing continent, we'll apply for the Olympics again. And we'll be at the
which
Olympics.
continent? Which
I believe it
continent
was South America, but don't. I am glad there's something in the Netherlands. I believe it was South America, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure.
If it were to be in South America, please, people from Suriname, if you get the chance, go to Italy. If you like working with these swords, you can like learn it there and bring it back to Suriname because you're probably going to see like a lot of people there as well interested. Like because there are like a lot of athletes there, so there might definitely be people interested in bringing more.
Yeah, and if it is indeed Suriname you're trying to promote, you don't need to go to Italy. There's America, where you have several Ludosport academies, where you have technicos that can teach you in Form 1, so you can start something in Suriname.
It's shorter. The distance is a lot shorter.
It's a shorter trip. Yeah, it's a shorter trip within the same time zone, etc., etc. But again, I'm not sure if it was South America. I don't know all the holes by heart. And if it would be Asia or it would be Africa or it would be I don't know. I know it's in North America and in Europe. That's for certain. I'm not sure about the others. I should. I can check, or you can check. It's all on Ludosport International. If you just search Ludosport, you will go to the international page and you can look up the nearest hole near you, and you can find email addresses and social media, so you can get in contact with a Ludosport hole near you, and you can start wielding the lightsaber and be the protagonist in your own story of light. Yes.
I just love this very much because I would like to see this in the Olympics as well, especially since I didn't see any other sport that like combined this like digital and like the digital as in the technology and the fighting technique yet.
Yeah, well, yeah. Movie fighting.
Or I might have not been looking that well.
I don't know. There's still so much on the internet that I haven't seen. Obviously, you have movie fighting and stage combat. You have actual fighting and you have different types of fighting. And now we're doing a Ludosport thing. Obviously, I would like to combine Ludosport and the stage combat, so we can bring the lightsaber actually to the screen. And there are Ludosporters that are creating movies on YouTube, on YouTube and other platforms that have the knowledge of how to shoot and how to act, and they actually bring Ludosport or the techniques of Ludosport to the screen, but not yet in the true movie thing, because Disney and Ludosport they aren't yet combined in that sense. Now, the 501st Legion of the cosplaying stormtroopers did get roles in the last few movies. You can actually see people that are in the 501st Legion on screen. Obviously, they have helmets on, so you don't know. So it's only a time. It's just time until we get Ludosport or any other lightsaber combat sport, because Ludosport is not the only one. There's another one in Singapore that I found out first, and there's another one in the United States and in France, and maybe other places as well. I just know about the United States and France. Maybe they will be on the screen, and I would just love it. Like, okay, we now see some techniques that we can use in our universe in that universe. That would be
Yes.
so amazing. That would be so amazing. If I can have my dream in a few years, I would have a separate class in my hall that also does stunt fighting and choreography for stage fighting with the lightsaber. But again, not yet.
Guys, as long as you're watching this, I also put something in the description so you can check them out, and you can sign up for the classes as well, or send Mr. Tim down here a message, and
Yes.
you can be a part of the class.
Yes. I have socials. I have an email. They're all on the websites, ludosportamsterdam.com. If you search for Ludosport Amsterdam, you will get there as well. At the moment, I have 2 halls, one in Purmerend. That's organized by me. So sign up, you come along, and it's all fine. If you do it in Amsterdam, you have to do it via the USC Universum. Works slightly different, but works in the same way. But hey, if you're not in the Netherlands, but you're somewhere else, Ludosport International is your friend. There's a very nice world tab there where you can find all the other halls all around the world and start battling as soon as possible.
Yes, of course. And maybe someday your dream will come true.
I hope so. I'm working on it. I've started the school. I went to Italy. I've done the things. I'm working on it. Yes. I'm still moving. I'm growing.
Yeah, because people are interested. They just don't know. They just don't know where, and maybe through this they can know, like, hey, I can go there and see
I hope so.
and get a lesson from Tim. So maybe someday you'll see me as well in person for a couple of other lessons.
You're welcome. Obviously, you're welcome. And yes, I know a lot of people would like this, and yeah, I need to get the word out like big. So thank you for letting me in your podcast. That really helps.
You're welcome.
But there's so many people that would like to do this and just don't know about it. So yeah, let's spread the word, or let's spread the light, as we say in Ludosport. Yeah.
And as well as you mentioned before, some people from Ludosport were also in Disney. I hope they open their doors up to you guys as well, and maybe have like an agreement, maybe for shows or tournaments or whatever,
would
whatever
like
in the
it.
box.
Yeah. I would like it. But again, that's not up to me. I'm somewhere down the ladder, and that's okay. I'm just starting. And I know there has been contact, obviously, with other organizations from the Ludosport International Board. We'll see. I hope so,
Yes.
because we can bring some awesome fights and techniques to the screen and to the rest of the world. Yeah.
I would like to ask you: do you have a last message for our viewers?
Do I have a last message to the viewers? Well, whatever you want to do, you sometimes you just need to do it. You just need to stop being afraid and do it. And while you do it, take care, be safe, and follow your heart. I wanted to fight. I've been fighting in the back garden with sticks, trying to imagine being Avatar: The Last Airbender, or someone from Avatar: The Last Airbender. You know, swinging sticks around and around. And it was only just that fantasy until I was like, okay, but I want to do something with it. I want to follow this passion. And my girlfriend helped a lot with that. Thank you very much for helping me, Nienke. She helped a lot with that. And just follow your passion. And sometimes you need to dare. And you will come very far if you keep daring and keep safe. And as soon as you want to do something in fighting, safety. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. And perhaps someday we'll either have another podcast, maybe with more people from the Ludosport community, when there is something happening. Well, maybe keep me updated as well. I will check it out as well.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I would really enjoy to see that and have you guys here as well.
I
So
would certainly love it. I would certainly love it. Yeah, we do have a small community already here in the Netherlands, or at least we established something of a community here in the Netherlands.
yeah.
There were some people from Italy and from Germany and from other places that we did do a meetup. As you can see now on the screen, but you can.
Yes.
So yeah, please grow, find us, join us, even if it's just for one day. Wield the lightsaber for a few minutes. You'll love it. I'm sure. I'm sure you'll love it. It
I
makes a
loved it.
sound. It has light effects. Be the protagonist in your own story. Yes. Yes.
Oh, sorry, there was like
Yes.
a technical difficulty.
Okay.
And I will be joining you guys perhaps as well.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, because it might be a little later in my life when things get a lot calmer. But I know where I can message you to say, hey, I want to follow another class, and when I can come by. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. And viewers, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to check them out. Links are in the bio, in the description. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Like, sharing, and subscribing will not just only help me, but also help Tim
Yeah. At the
reach
other
his
side.
goal
Yeah.
and his dream by spreading the word. So when commenting down below, please keep it civil, guys. And till the next time, thank you
We
very
will.
much and
Thank you very much.
goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.